Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me, and today I'm bringing you my September book haul. I went a little bit overboard in September, not gonna lie, but I feel a little bit better in the fact that some of them were subscription boxes, some of them were from authors. I've read some of them and some of them are just really beautiful books. So let's get into it. I want to make this as quick as possible. So first up we have the book from the August Owl Crate. I'll link below to that unboxing if you haven't seen it already, and that is The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This one, I can't really remember what it was going to be about. Losing your heart is easy, getting it back is another story. She reached down, found his hand with hers, their fingers tangled, wrists pressed together, no pulse between them. Not quite, it's just, I don't know. It just sounds interesting, and I feel like it's a book that you don't really need to know too much about before going into it. But I'm really excited. I've heard some pretty good things about this one, so hopefully I get around to it really soon. Also in that Owl Crate box, I got Sleepy Hollow and Other Short Stories by Washington Irving. This is the Paper Rock Books edition. I definitely recommend checking out this company. They make some really cute covers of classic books, trying to modernizing them. And I have really wanted to read Sleepy Hollow for ages, so I'm definitely going to be reading this one around Halloween. Then the next book I got in my August YA Chronicles box. I will link to that one in the description below if you haven't seen it, and that is The Undercurrent by Paula Weston. We follow this girl, Julie Ann, who has an electrical current that stings and surges beneath her skin. It can spark fire, maybe even end a life, but she can't control it. Then she meets Ryan Walsh. She doesn't know that he's tracking her, and I think he's pretty unsure about why he's tracking her and why the sparks are literally flying between them, but it sounds like it's going to be interesting. It definitely at first doesn't sound like something I would immediately pick up, but it does sound intriguing enough that I'm hopefully going to read it at some point in the future. Then the next book was kindly sent to me from HarperCollins, and oh my god, if you follow me on Instagram and you saw my little story for that day, you will know how excited I was when this book arrived, and that is God's Grave by J. Kristoff. So thank you so much for HarperCollins for sending this to me. I've actually already read it and I've got a review up if you want to know. This is the second book in the Evernight Chronicle. It is amazing. We pick up after our main character Mia has become a blade, and there's more murder, and there's a bit of romance, and there's twists and turns, and now that I've finished it, I just desperately want the third book. So I will link below to my review for this if you are interested. It is epically amazing. Then Hatchet Australia kindly sent me a finished copy of Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I'm yet to read this book, and it's actually coming out this month, and I was hopefully going to have it read by the time it came out. Hopefully I'll get around to it really soon, because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. It's about this girl who, this girl Morrigan, who is cursed, and everyone in her town blames her for everything that goes wrong. Then she ends up meeting a man named Jupiter North, and they end up going to this magical city called Nevermore, and to stay in the safety of Nevermore for good, Morrigan will need to pass 4 difficult and dangerous trials, or she'll have to leave the city and confront her deadly fate back at this village, who blames her for everything and are essentially going to get rid of her. It sounds amazing. It's got a ton of industry hype. I think I talked about it a little bit more in my previous book haul, so maybe go check that out. I don't know. From the few reviews that I've seen of this one already, everyone is absolutely loving it, so hopefully I will get to it by the end of the month at least. Then I picked up the final 2 books in the Fallen series by Lauren Kate, and that is Fallen in Love, which is a novella that takes place that goes in between books 3 and 4, although I don't necessarily think you need to read it then. It takes place, there's 4 extraordinary love stories that intersect over the course of a romantic Valentine's Day in medieval England, and we follow 4 of our favourite couples from the series. I'm really excited to read this one. A lot of people have said you don't really need to read it, it doesn't bring that much to the series, but I'm really excited to read it nonetheless. And then there is the 5th and final book, and this is Unforgiven. This is Cam's story. I don't know when this takes place within the grand scheme of the Fallen series. I'm only up to the 3rd book, so I don't really know what lies ahead, but we follow Cam, who made a bet with Lucifer. He has 15 days to make Lilith fall in love with him. 3 millennia ago he broke her heart, and she's been serving a punishment for his crimes ever since. Now she can't stand the sight of him. So I'm excited to see Cam's happy ending, because I love him in the books, and I can't wait to get to this book at some point in the future. At the end of August, I went to an author talk in my local library, and that was Adele Ogier-Jones, who wrote The Coffee Palace. This is a fiction book about the actual coffee palace that was in the local town that I live in. The coffee palace no longer exists, but her great-grandparents, I think it was, or her great-grandmother anyway, owned the coffee palace and ran it for its entire lifespan, and she was doing family history research and found out this information about the coffee palace, but she couldn't find enough out about it to actually write a non-fiction book, but she wrote a fiction that included a lot of information about the coffee palace itself and coffee palaces in general and things she knew about her great-grandmother. And the talk with her was really interesting. I kind of wish I vlogged it, but it's really awkward to vlog in a small town where everyone knows you. I kind of regret it, but it's alright. It was really interesting. I wasn't planning on getting the book. My mum had read it and she kind of enjoyed it but kind of didn't. But I thought I would get it because she just hyped it up really well and made it sound really interesting. So I'm really excited, especially because it does take place in my own hometown, which I live in a small country town. Nothing, like, there's no fictional work that takes place here, so I'm really excited for this. And then during the evening she was giving away copies of this poetry book from The Edge of the Pacific. They were written in, and the earliest poems in this collection were written between 1990 and 1995, and the others 20 years later. They were written in and for different countries in the South Pacific, including Australia. Poetry is sort of her main thing, so I'm really interested just to read this and see what it's like. I've been meaning to get more into poetry, and hopefully this is something that I can just peruse. The next book I got in the Tower of Dawn YA Chronicles box, I will link to that below if you haven't seen it, and that was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas, the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm yet to read any of the Throne of Glass books, but I just had to get this box because I regret not getting the Court of Wings and Ruins box, so I had to get this. Definitely go check it out if you are a fan of this series to see what bookish items I got with this. Hopefully I will get it. I'm planning on starting this series this year over the summer, so hopefully I can be reading this one maybe this time next year. I don't know. The next book is a weird book that I'm hauling, but I'm really excited. I'm actually going to be doing a video on this, probably next week's video maybe, I'm not quite sure. It's a video that will at least be going up in October, and that is this one. It is 100 Shows, 104 Years, A History of the Finley A&P Association by me. This is my book, and that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say about it in this haul. You're going to have to wait until that video for me to talk about it a little bit more and to include some footage from the night that we actually launched it, but it's weird that I'm hauling my own book in a book haul. The next book is Fireblood by Ellie Blake. This is the second book in the Frostblood saga. I absolutely loved Frostblood when it came out at the beginning of this year. I'm so glad we only had to wait 9 months for book 2. I'm yet to actually read this, but I'm really excited. We follow Ruby, who has to travel to the Fireblood Kingdom in order to try and save everyone from the Minax that has been controlling everything in the past. And I'm really, really excited. I've heard amazing things about this so far already. So hopefully this is another book that I get to really, really soon. The next book was in the September Outcry, and again I will link to that video in the description if you haven't seen it, and that is Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows, the first book in the Fallen Isles trilogy. This is a dragon book and sounds amazing. Our main character finds out about illegal dragon trafficking, and that's all I really need to know. I have not read enough dragon books, and this one sounds awesome and the cover looks gorgeous, and I'm really excited for this. I've been meaning to read something by Jodi Meadows before, and I definitely think this is a book I will get to really, really soon. The next 2 books were kindly sent to me from Hatchet Australia. The first is Hunting Prince Dracula by Kerry Maniscalco. I think I said that wrong. This is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Unfortunately, I don't have the first book. I have not read it yet, and I'm going to be getting that one very soon because I have heard that you actually need to read that one before you go into this one. Firstly, I was kind of thinking I could get away with not reading the first book, but I definitely do. This series has gotten so much praise, and it sounds like it's amazing. I'm definitely excited to read the first book, and I'm also really excited for this one. A man impaled by a sharp wooden stake, a young chambermaid drained of all her blood. They say it's Prince Dracula arisen from the dead. I say it's the living, not the dead, we should fear the most. Sounds awesome and I'm really excited. The other book that Hatchet kindly sent to me is Username Rising by Jo Sugby, third and final book in the Username series. I'm really excited to read this one. I'm actually hoping to get to it really soon, and then I might do a video talking about the trilogy. I've loved the first 2 books and I can't wait to see where this one goes, because the second book ended on a really great cliffhanger, and it should be really great to see how Joe and his team have wrapped up this story. We're getting there, 3 books left. The next book is After the Game by Abby Glines, the 3rd book in the Field Party series. I've actually already read this and I really loved it. And if I've written the review by the time this video goes up, I will link to that below. But this is Brady Higgins' story. He featured quite heavily in the second book, and as well as Riley Young, who we get to also meet in the second book, and their story was hinted at in one of the chapters in that one, and it looked like it was going to be really good, and this story was really nice. It didn't have the same drama that an Abby Glines book usually has. Usually, you know, you get close to the end and the couple kind of meets this big obstacle that they have to overcome. There's like a misunderstanding or something. That didn't really happen in this book. It was kind of not a lot of drama in it, but it's really interesting. And really cute. It's just a classic Abby Glines book, and I absolutely love the cover of this. Then I got the special edition of Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This edition is a little hardcover. It looks cute. I think what makes this book like the special collector's edition that it is, apart from the beautiful cover, is that there is a Q&A in the back that fans have actually asked questions for. I really hope that the entire 4 books made into editions like this, because they're going to look so pretty. But I love the Red Queen series, so I naturally had to get this book. Then finally, the last book was once again sent to me from Hatchet Australia, and that is Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I think that's how you say her name. This one I'm so excited for. It's definitely going to be one of my next reads. I'm just going to read you the blurb because I think it sums up everything that is awesome about this book. Vivian Carter is fed up with the sexist dress codes, fed up with the gross comments from guys during class, fed up with her high school teachers who let it happen, but most of all, Viv is fed up with always following the rules. Viv's mum was a punk rock riot girl, inspiring Viv to create Moxie, a feminist zine that she distributes anonymously to her classmates. She's just blowing off steam, but other girls respond and begin to spread the Moxie message. Moxie girls fight back, and before Viv knows it, she has started a girl revolution. This book sounds like it's going to be amazing and kick-ass and empowering, and I also just love the fact that this is freaking neon pink. But yeah, this is a feminist book, and I am yet to actually read a feminist piece of work. Not that I've been like avoiding it, it's just I kind of didn't want to delve into that world as such, because it can be quite a controversial thing. That sounds bad, but I'm sure you know what I'm saying. But I'm really excited for this one. It sounds like it's going to be amazing, and I've heard absolutely amazing reviews of this one already. So that is it for my September book haul. I think this is the quickest I've ever filmed a book haul with this many books in it. I'm definitely cutting down on the books that I'm buying. I know there are a few books I'm going to be getting in October, but I'm definitely going to try and cut down. It just did not help that September had so many amazing book releases. As I said during the video, I will link below to some of those unboxings and some of those reviews for the books that I've already read. Check them out if you are interested. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on any of these books, if you've read them or if they're books that you are excited to read. Let me know if you did a book haul for September, because I don't need to buy any more books, but I just love watching book haul videos, and I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye!